afternoon and welcome to Leeds here in South Yorkshire for day 3 of the 2019 Ifaf Women's European Championship. We are just awaiting the arrival of the two teams for our 3 p.m. kickoff, which will see Austria against Sweden, and then at 7 p.m. we have Finland taking on host Great Britain. As you can hear from our stadium announcer, out come the Swedes. Carl Walkinshaw is alongside me as ever. Afternoon, Carl.
Afternoon, Matt. Looking forward to a great day of football. Swedish support has been fantastic here, hasn't it? And the drummers are out, the Swedes are out in force. There's a big crowd here, and the atmosphere is building towards the start of this game.
Absolutely. We've obviously been in Leeds all week, and the weather gods have been kind to us today as well, Carl. We've had a little bit of a damp affair on Wednesday, but that didn't affect the quality of the football too much, and we're hoping with the weather conditions we've got this afternoon that we should see some spectacular football from both games.
Yeah, we had a look at the weather, didn't we, on Wednesday, just to check how it was going to be on Saturday. So you've got 2 great games. Obviously the second game has massive permutations for the championship. This, some permutations, but less so. But yeah, the weather looks great, so they're going to be able to run past, do what they need to do on offence and defence to make things happen.
Well, just before we concentrate on this one and we listen to the national anthems, let's just bring our viewers up to date if you've not been with us all week. As we've mentioned, there are 4 teams here competing for this European Championship of 2019. Day 1 saw Finland take on Austria and really put Austria to the score by a score of 50-0. Later on in that evening, Great Britain took on Sweden and narrowly lost out to the Swedes in a really tightly contested affair, Sweden running out 9-6 winners. We wondered at that point, Carl, whether or not Austria were the weak link out of the 4, and we had to wait for Wednesday. Wednesday then arrived, and we had a heck of a game first thing, Finland against Sweden, which finished 27-20.
Game of the tournament so far, back and forth. Alena scoring for Sweden, Rasmussen scoring for Finland, and it was those 2 real stars. You'll see them both today, which is going to be fantastic again.
Absolutely. And then our last game on Wednesday evening saw Great Britain come out against Austria and assert a little bit of dominance and get their first win on the board. They overturned the Austrians 36-6. So going into today's games, their standings are, they're as you may expect, to a degree. You've got the Finlands on top with a 2-0 record. Sweden then sits second in the table, 1-1 alongside Great Britain, but they sit second by virtue of the fact that they beat the Brits. And then Austria bring up the bottom of the table with that 0-2 decision. Austria will be keen today, Carl, to make a better representation of themselves in this final outing here.
Well, their offence hasn't scored, and whilst we've seen, it's interesting actually when you look at the stats, their quarterback, Pripfel, is actually the leading quarterback in completions and yards across the championship, across those first 2 games, which is very surprising when we spotted that stat. But in fact, they do have a very nice passing attack, and they do have some receivers that can catch the ball, but they just haven't been able to get into anyone's end zone, anyone's red zone rather. So the only score from Teresa Malebna against GB, that score actually was an important score. We'll tell you why later.
Absolutely. And as we've mentioned, we've got Finland against Great Britain later on, but what we'll do, as we are about to go to the national anthems, is we'll concentrate on this one first, Sweden versus Austria. We'll have a little look at the key players for both these outfits, but before we do that, we will silence ourselves as we listen to the Swedish national anthem. presence all week long. And now we turn to the Austrians. Atmosphere beginning to build here in the stadium. It's worth at this point just pointing out and giving a little bit of airtime to Europearl, an Austrian company who have been very much instrumental in enabling Austria to be here this afternoon and all this week, in fact, providing some much warranted and needed financial support for the Austrian women. But anyway, Carl, national anthems are complete. We're about to go to midfield for the coin toss. Let's have a quick talk about the players that we could look out for today. First of all, let's have a look at the Austrians.
So on Austria, you've got a QB with some talent, and we've seen flashes of brilliance. She's actually got a really good arm. Her name's Cornelia Pritful, and she'll do some good stuff today. The thing with it, she doesn't get great protection from her offensive line, which makes things difficult, and she doesn't have hugely great weapons around her, but she seems to me to be the talent of the QB bunch that we've seen so far in this tournament, in terms of her arms, certainly, less so in terms of her mobility. Then you've got Lisa Putz at running back, number 32. She'll make some runs, and they like to try and hit her out in the flats. And lastly, worth mentioning Maria Gull, who is their deep threat, Austria's deep threat on the receiver, and that's pretty much their offense. On defence, number 20, Malebna, scored those critical 6 points against GB on the interception of GB and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. Great speed. She's one of the captains. You can see her there coming out on the field to your left. So we'll keep an eye on her as well as this game progresses and see whether she can make the same impact that she did in the last game. And
sorry, Carl, as far as the Swedes are concerned, there's one standout player that we've been calling all week, number 84, Karen Ullen.
Has to start with Alena. She's had 7 receptions. She's listed as a wide receiver, but actually she plays at quarterback, she plays at running back.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies.
So
welcome to the third and final game day of the 2019 Ifaf Women's European Championships. Sweden, you are the designated visiting team for this game, so you will have the call. That is the head and that is the tail. That is the tail and that is the head. What is your call, Sweden?
Tail.
Tail's called.
It's a head.
And it's a head. Austria have won the toss. Do you want your options now? Austria are deferring their options to the second half. So, okay, Sweden are elected to receive. Austria, which direction would you like to kick? Kick. Swing round with your backs to the goal you'll be defending, please, ladies. Sweden have the first half option and will receive. Have a good game.
So, as you heard there from our official this afternoon, Peter Parsons, Austria won the toss, deferred, elected to choose their option for the second half, and as a result the Swedes have elected to receive the football and go on offense and get Karen Ullen and Johansson at quarterback fired up straight away. Karen, a little bit more, Carl, about that Swedish offense.
Yeah, so it's Karen Ullen that really leads there. She's listed as a receiver. She's had 7 receptions, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. But interestingly enough, they put her in a wildcat formation where she's also hugely effective running as quarterback, and she does a bunch of stuff from there, including runs straight up the middle. She's had 16 runs for 114 yards from that position on the field. So she is definitely one to watch, but they're not just one-dimensional. Marie Johansson, their quarterback, is also decent, especially on the ground. And then Sarah Lidner and Aspenberg, watch out for those girls. Those girls can hit, and they hit hard. So this Swedish team has a lot of talent both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. So we're just about to get this one underway. Denise Sharadic will be kicking off to Karen Ullen and Anna Hedstrom, who will be looking to get some good field position initially for the Swedes, and obviously the Austrians will be wanting to give a slightly better showing than they have done in their previous two outings. Interesting that they chose to go on defence to begin with, considering the might of that Swedish offence.
Seems to be the trend that teams, Austria deferred obviously, and so Sweden have got the ball first, so it will be Austria's defence against Sweden's offence coming out onto the field to start. But it seems to be the trend that teams would prefer to defer and come in with a very strong third quarter drive if they get the choice.
Absolutely. Officials just waiting for that absolute on-the-button kickoff of 3 p.m. And here we go as the ball inauspiciously falls off the tee. A little gust of wind here in the John Charles Stadium in Leeds.
We did say the weather was excellent, didn't we?
We did. Well, the sun is shining. It's warm. It's looking around. There's not too much. Just the odd gust here. But Denise Sharadic will re-spot that football and aim to kick off to Hedstrom and Karen Ullen. And away we go in the final day of the 2019 IFAF European Championships, as Karen Ullen immediately goes up the middle and she's past midfield. She's out at the 40, and this is danger as we stand. She goes almost untouched, 70 yards for the opening score. Carl.
Wow. Sweden set out their stall at the first play of the game, Karen Ullen. I mean, why kick to Karen Ullen? Kick it away, kick it out of bounds, do something, but don't kick it to Karen Ullen. So poor Austria make the fatal error to get the ball into Ullen's hands early, and she absolutely punishes him first play out.
Well, as we saw, actually, if you did see that kick didn't go far enough to actually reach Ullen. It ended up dropping near one of the up-backs, if you like, and they elected quite rightly to get out of the way of it and let Ullen pick the football up. And unlike earlier in the week, Ullen was on kicking duties earlier in the week, but this time those duties are switched. The ball is up, and it is through the uprights and good. And that's Sabina Ryberg, who is successful with that conversion. And just like that, Sweden are 7-0 ahead.
So I guess that coin toss decision, not the best decision for the Austrians. Maybe they should have taken the ball.
So just like that, Sharadic and the special teams unit of the Austrians will, the special teams unit itself, Sharadic obviously won't be coming back on because now they will be returning the football, and at least it gives Pripful and that offence an opportunity early to get something established and take the field prior to Johansson in the Swedish offence.
Yeah, and it's not all Allen. Obviously the Swedes did some great blocking up front. That four-woman front that they had just opened up the channel for Allen to bust through. But it is disappointing that we've got to score so early to the Swedes. So hopefully the Austrians can bounce back. They'll want to do something early to show that they can move this football.
Leubner and Lloyd waiting for that ball to come back, and that is going to take a Swedish bounce back into the field of play. And it is Leubner who returns it, picks it up, and she makes one player miss, gets out to the 30-yard line, and Austria will start their first possession on their 31.
Yeah, decent return, well handled, got up to the 30, what's going to be the 30-yard line. So first and 10 from there. Let's see what Austria can do. What we've seen so far from Austria is good play from Pripful, but they've been pushed to long third down situations, often making mistakes, and we saw a whole host of issues with their snaps last time that this team took the field. So we hope that they've adjusted in terms of their centre and the quarterback exchange.
So here we go, a better snap to start with, and Pripful keeps the ball, little option play, and she does pitch the ball out wide to her halfback, and that is Siri Knapp taking the first play and positive yardage on first down.
Yeah, and that was absolutely the right call, because Lisa Putz, number 32, got decked in the backfield by the Swedish defensive line, and in the end it was a nice play by the Austrians, who were getting smart to the fact they've got to do more than just run straight at these big defensive lines of these European teams.
And as we mentioned, that snap, that centre quarterback exchange is going to be vital, and it'll be good for that centre to be get that first snap underway. drama-free, and Pritful another nice snap. This time she goes back to pass. She looks and she hits the receiver in the backfield who's going to get out enough for a first down. She's up to the 50, down to about the 46-yard line is Lisa Putz, and that's a name you mentioned in pre-game, Cole.
Yeah, Lisa Putz, they like to get her out into the flats, but that's much better execution than we've seen from the Austrians. They've spent the day and a half that they've had since they played GB to really work on some of those basic plays, and Lisa Putz winning the flat looked nice, got a decent block from the receiver downfield, made some good yards. And
as you've identified already, it's probably not best advice to be going through the heart of that Swedish defence. Aspenberg and that defensive line with Lindner are quite a challenge, and Putz this time has her eyes downfield before she's secured possession of the football, and that'll fall incomplete.
I mean, they do have the right idea. If you watch the Swedes, they're doing a lot of double A-gap blitzes, A-gap blitzes, B-gap blitzes, trying to get pressure up the middle. So what do? You get the ball out to Putz in the flats as much as you can, or you roll your quarterback out to get away from that pressure, which is what they weren't doing against the Lions, partly because the snaps were so poor, to be honest.
Absolutely. As you can see on the screen there, if you want to get in touch with us this afternoon from wherever you are in Europe or the world, hashtag WEC Leeds 2019 is what the handle on the Twitter sphere to get in touch with us. And we will do our very best to give you a shout out as and when you do. Here's our official for the first time.
False start, offence number 50, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's disappointing for the Austrians, because Sweden actually had a little stunt, pre-snap stunt that they did, where they moved their defensive line towards the strong side of the Austrians, and that actually threw off their offensive line. They ended up going offside, so they need to be more disciplined.
So 2nd and 15 upcoming, 2 receivers to the left, and this time they do hand it off. No, they don't. There's the pitch again, and that this time Suri Knapp is not going anywhere. That is well pursued and well read by the the Swedish defense.
Yeah, Mallory Freisch coming in there to make the tackle and did a good job. These Swedes are smart, they make adjustments very quickly, and so absolutely no gain. In fact, a loss of a yard, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 16. So the penalty, combined with the Swedes making a quick adjustment to get to the edge, means this long down now. This is what we've seen from the Austrians, lack of consistency.
Absolutely. Trips to the left this time, top of your screen for Pritful on 3rd and long, 3rd and 16 from their 46, and this time she has to eat it, and she gets taken down for the first sack. Lindner there alongside number 46 for the Swedes.
Yeah, Hedengren came through there on the sack, wide open up the middle of the defence. Swedes do like to blitz, and on 3rd and 16, I mean, for a defensive line, you just start licking your chops, don't you, as you make your way towards that quarterback.
Absolutely. So after a promising first 2 plays from the Austrians, you have the incomplete pass, then the false start penalty, and then that Swedish defence stiffened significantly. So the punt is up, and a better punt than we saw earlier in the week, and it does take an Austrian bounce, then goes a little laterally, but at least the Austrians are going to be defending a relatively long field as Johansson and the Swedish offence take the field for the first time.
Sweden coming off the edge here, got close to that football. Mallory Freisch coming off the edge, number 7 for Sweden, and they'll come back to that. Let's just keep an eye on that. The offensive line, inconsistent, as I said, for the Austrians, and that causes them difficulties when they get into 3rd and long situations, or indeed punts. But here come the Swedes. Let's see what they can do, and see, they've already scored 7 points without even getting on the field. So this is where we see the Swedish offence for the first time.
Linda Johansson in at quarterback. We'll talk you about her stats shortly. She hands the ball off initially, and that's Hedström, who got loads of room off the left side, and she gets up close to midfield and will pick up a first down for the Swedes.
Yeah, just a nice little trap play to start. They fake the ball to Ullin and then give the ball to the running back, and Olsen, number 51, makes a fantastic block to free them on first down.
No huddle for Johansson. She goes to the air and she looks into the flat. Nice little quick out pattern to number 80, and that's number 80 is Hansen, Moa Hansen, once again with the reception.
Yeah, 2 defenders around the ball, so they do make the tackle early. It's going to be limited to just a 4-yard gain, but still decent first down.
This time, great penetration from that Austrian defence, and it's that star from the British game for the Austrians, number 20.
Yeah, Teresa Malebna. She's got tremendous speed, has Malebna, and she just came through on the blitz there from the safety position, took her running back straight down. Here we go with Johansson.
And it gets it to a key playmaker, Karen Ullen, who makes one player miss, comes back the other way, picks up first down, and she's gone. Has she got the speed to get around the last defender? She has. Touchdown, Sweden. Sweden's second of the afternoon, Ullen's second of the afternoon, and just when the Austrians thought they might have the Swedes in trouble, there's the playmaker once again.
She's already got 2 MVPs. Now she's got 2 touchdowns in this game. So the previous 2 games that Sweden have played, Ullen's been the MVP, and in this game she's setting her account out and setting her stall out to be the MVP of this one as well, Matt.
Interestingly, Johansson's numbers at quarterback coming into this one. She completed 13 passes for 213 yards, 2 TDs, but 2 interceptions as well as the extra point. Good snap, good hold. It might have been, I think it was blocked partly, but it does manage to sneak through for the Swedes to take them up to 14 points to 0 in no time here in Leeds on day 3 of this Ifaf Women's European Championship.
It was a nice simple throw. You'll remember that the Swedes did exactly the same for an even longer distance against GB in that opening game that GB had on Monday evening, if you can remember that far back, Matt. It's been a few games since then.
And that was
Ullen in space is hugely effective, and once she gets past that last line of defence, she's very difficult to take down.
off, which will be an illegal procedure penalty and give Austria very good field position, as that was Karen Ullen on kicking duties on that one. If Great Britain beat Finland by 6 or more this evening, then Great Britain will be crowned champion. So there's a few different ways this can go.
There certainly is in Sweden. I mean, both the upshot of this is that Sweden will want to win by more than 30
Illegal
points.
procedure, free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Austria will take the ball 5 yards from the out of bounds spot, first down.
Sorry, go for it, Carl, again.
Which is why that touchdown that Alena scored against GB was so important, because if she hadn't have scored that touchdown, of course, we'd have won 36-0, and we would have had the maximum number of points that we needed, and we'd be equal with the finish.
So for the Swedish fans out there, Carl, what is the situation which will allow Sweden to take this championship? As Pritful attempts to hit Lloyd once again, and it falls incomplete, almost intercepted.
They have to win here. GB have to beat Finland,
but by
all those teams are in 2 by less than 6 points, and then they will look at points difference across those 3 teams.
Okay. So Sweden, it is in their interest to pile as many points as they can up to that 35-point margin.
Yeah, they're currently at a 22-point margin, so they need another 14 points.
But I believe if it does come down to points, it then does open up into the 50-point bit, as Lloyd makes the reception, puts a foot in the ground, and gets past the halfway line. And once again, a very positive play from Pritful to Lloyd. Forward progress will get past the sticks, and it'll be first down, Austria once again. I think there is somewhere there where the 50-point difference does come back. Anyway, we'll worry about that if things come to that later on.
It does get complicated as you move through the table, as it would in a competition like this, because all teams play each other once, and then you've got to work it out.
Particularly with only 4
teams.
There's
no playoffs or anything like that. We're just all playing each other round robin and see who has the best result.
So first down, Pritful and the Austrian offence again, and she's looking this time for Gull, and it's got a little bit too much mustard on it. That one goes through Gull's hands, thankfully as well through all the Swedish hands as well, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10, Austria. So still in second quarter action here in Leeds.
These Austrians have managed to fight their way into the Swedish half, Matt, which is a good sign.
28-6 deficit for the Austrians, but they are driving. 2nd and 10. And the ball is handed off to Putz, and Pritful may have been better keeping hold of that one, although there was pressure on Pritful had she have elected to pull that out of Putz's grasp, and that's a loss of 5 yards and bring up 3rd and 15.
Was wondering whether when Lidner was going to make her presence felt on defence. We would have seen her throw a couple of blocks on offence, but Lidner knifing in from that defensive end position to make the big tackle for a loss of 5 yards.
So you would expect Pritful to go to the air once again. Look at all those Swedes in the box, their crowd in the box. Ball goes out to the flat, and Gull just flat out drops it. Christina Marie Gull in and out of the hands, and that'll bring up 4th down, and another disappointing end to a promising Austrian drive.
Yeah, Marie Bengtsson was definitely there with intent to make that tackle, even if that ball had been completed. So not much going on there for Austrians on 3rd down.
So Madlik on once again to punt for the Austrians. He's being very respected by the Swedish kick returner. It's a nice snap. And this one gets scuffed off the toe of Madlik. And the Austrian looks to pick it up and run with it. Does a good job, does number 39 for Sweden. That's Svensson.
That's a design punt. And what you're trying to do there is I think you're trying to hit one of the Swedish players and recover the football.
I think that's
it didn't look to me as if she was trying to put any effort into that. It was a design, kick it across the ground and see whether he could hit a Swedish player. I've never seen it, Matt.
I think that's very
I'm
generous.
not going to put it in the playbook, but I think it was designed.
I wouldn't have thought you would, because you're a defensive coordinator, and I'd hate to think that any of your safeties are going to start kicking the ball in any way, shape or form. But yeah, very generous. But nevertheless, it's first down, Sweden once again. Johansson and that offense going back to work. Gets the ball out to Hedström in acres of space, and Hedström gets past the 40-yard line, picks up another first down for Sweden. And this Swedish juggernaut of an offense is rolling once again.
Suzanne Rechbauer having to track back to ensure that she made the tackle to save the touchdown on that one. But yeah, I mean, that was obvious. Johansson had loads of time to see that and get the ball to Hedström in space.
Looks extremely comfortable sitting back there, does Johansson now. No pressure at all coming from that defensive line or linebacking core for the Austrians. Hedström was left all alone. There was a bit of a breakdown in coverage there as Ullen goes in motion, and once again Hedström takes the hand off and she goes around the right end, makes one defender miss and is wrapped up, but not before she picks up another Swedish first down.
Yeah, they're really rolling now. They're having their way with the Austrians, and I would have hoped to have seen a little bit more competition from the Austrians, I think, but it seems that the Swedes certainly are going to try and rack up as many points as they can as we go towards the end of this second quarter.
Sweden already done something that the Finns and the Brits couldn't do against Austria, and that's get past the 20-point margin in the first half. Finland were only 12-0 ahead at the break, and the Brits had only amassed 14 points. This time, great read by Johansson, sees the DN biting on Hedström, and she keeps the ball and she gets inside the red zone up to the 11-yard line where it'll be first down, Sweden once again.
Johansson does that well. She just picks her way around to the left and follows her blockers. Good blocking downfield by some of those Swedish receivers as well, which free her up for a few more yards. And again, they're knocking on the door, are these Swedes, and this will take them to the maximum points, won't it? This will take them to, if they score here.
If they get the 7, it will take them very close. Well, it'll be 35. It won't quite, because it's 36-point difference they're wanting. But anyway, can still get a first down without scoring. First and 10 on the 12-yard line of Austria. And this time, Johansson goes to the edge. And this time it looks like Hedström's looking to put the ball in the air. And she elects to pull it down and keeps it, spins out of 2 tackles. And she's met after a pickup of a yard. A very complicated, slow developing play, that one, which doesn't necessarily have the effectiveness the Swedes would have wanted.
Yeah, it was actually Sarah Lindner, number 5, who took the pitch from Ullin and then was playing quarterback there. Obviously designed play, but immediately under pressure from the Austrian defensive line. I guess they're trying to show us some razzle-dazzle in the last game that they have. Why not go to those trick plays and see what they can get done?
So as our stadium announcer suggested, as the 2-minute warning.
Time out. My time. That is the 2-minute warning at 2 minutes exactly.
So there it is, the 2-minute warning. Oh, apologies, Mr. Parsons.
So the question now is, can the Swedes get to 5 touchdowns scored in a half against these Austrians before this clock runs down?
Well, they've got Johansson, who lets it go straight through her hands, and she elects to try and pick that one up rather than dropping on it, and it's a big defensive play. The Austrians very quick to pounce on that error by Johansson. You've got to say it was an error by Johansson, because the ball just went straight through her hands.
Yeah, it's an uncut, an uncommon error from Johansson, actually, because she's handled the ball really well whenever she's been asked to do good duty. She's got good ball management. Not too much harm done with a 28-6 lead for the Swedes, so I'm sure the Swedes will forgive her that, especially if she can make some yards up here on third down.
It's 3rd and 24. And again, they've still really got 2 plays. They're not going to do anything but run 3rd and 4th down, or run a play on 3rd and 4th down. 2 receivers to the short side, and she goes to the air, slings it across, and it's in and out of the hands of her intended receiver. That's Emma Sancio, first time we mentioned her name this evening. They'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, I'm not sure Alena was on the field at that point. She is now. But yeah, going to the different receivers, showing they're not just completely one-dimensional with Alena.
Mentioned earlier in the week, Johansson, very individual sidearm slinging throwing action rather than coming over the top using that shoulder. It's very much more elbow. And she's now got trips to the top side, the wide side of the field as she looks, and she's got acres of time again, and now she's hurried and has to roll out to her right, and she's taken down. And that's a great play on 4th down, and the Austrians will have a little bit of time. And that's number 90, Sabine Rechbauer for Austria. And Austria get the ball in pretty good field position.
Yeah, about a minute left. Just before that play, there was 1:06 left on the clock, so we expect probably a minute now for Austria to get this ball back and see what they can do. It'd be nice if they could do something to lift this Austrian crowd.
Well,
1 minute left on the clock now.
When you consider they were facing 1st and 10 on their own 11-yard line, and now they've got 1st and 10 themselves on their 37, that's a good swing, a good feel-good factor there as Pritful comes to this side, looks for Lloyd, and Lloyd gets 1 foot down, and it's signalled incomplete. So didn't manage to hold on to the football as she tried to get a foot down in bounds. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Maria
Austria.
Bengtsson denying her the play on the sideline there with 55 seconds now on the clock.
So 2nd and 10, Austria looking to try and find double figures for the first time this week, as far as the scoreboard's concerned at least. 3 receivers to the right for Pritful, and she looks to her right. She's got a bit of time. She steps up into the pocket, and now she's got space in front of her, and she's going to get to first down, and she's going to get out of bounds as well. So good heads-up play from Pritful. Manages to step up into the pocket. That offensive line manages to push the defenders around her, and that's technically very well done by that O-line.
Yeah, Pritful is useful. Do you remember that clash that she had against Rachel Moody, number 55? In the GB Lions game, where Rachel Moody came off worse for wear after taking on Pritful.
45 seconds remaining in the half, and that clock stopped as Pritful headed out of bounds on midfield now. 49 yards to pay dirt. Pritful feels a good stab, and she's going to take it herself, and she's got the edge. She picks up a yard, but the clock will continue to run. She's only picking up a yard, maybe 2 on that, and this may well be timeout. Austria, indeed it is.
Nice chase down by Hedengren for Sweden on that one. Pritful showing good poise on this try.
Timeout call by Austria at 37 seconds. Second timeout of the half.
So Austria stopped the clock with 37 ticks remaining. They've got 2nd and 8 on the Swedish 47-yard line, and there'll be a little bit of belief. Haven't had any real big chunk plays, the Austrians, on offence. They've all come on the defensive side of the ball through Malebna.
They don't
long returns.
Sorry, Matt. Yeah, they don't have that kind of breakaway speed that you see from Ullin on Sweden is the obvious choice there, but also other receivers that have been in this championship.
Lloyd has shown elements as she actually now comes to the bottom of the screen, number 80. So she's shown the potential. Actually, she takes a place in the slot here, does Lloyd. You kind of feel like they might be looking to get her on that out pattern once again to the sideline, stop the clock, pick up some more yardage. But it is 2nd and 8. Pritful, she goes up top, she is looking for Lloyd, and Lloyd makes the reception for first down yardage, but she's held up inbounds, and that will mean the clock will continue to run. You'd expect Austria to take their final timeout here.
Yeah, smart play by Sweden to hold that player up and keep her inbounds rather than use the sideline as an extra defender. But a nice play by Pritful. 6 men on the line of scrimmage, 6 ladies on the line of scrimmage rather for Swedes, and they came with big pressure.
The clock stopped. Sorry, Cole. The clock stopped as the first down markers are reset, and Austria are taking their final timeout.
Timeout called by Austria at 28 seconds. That is their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
So we mentioned already, Lloyd is very much the go-to target for Pritful. Good march on this road drive though, Cole.
Yeah, with a minute to go, put these Austrians under pressure, and they're doing better than they've done all tournament. Driving now well into the Swedish half at the 34-yard line. The question is, what can they do with less than 30 seconds on the clock?
Well, they've got to use those sidelines now. They're out of timeouts. 34 yards to the end zone. Obviously, if they do end up getting tackled in bounds, they've got to hustle to the line of scrimmage. It's first down, so they can afford to spike the ball to stop the clock if they do end up being tackled in bounds. Let's see what they elect to do. Lloyd there again to the slot, to Pritful's left. And she looks that way once again, now looks back off to her right. She's got time, and now she's going to be running, takes off. She's got to get to that sideline if she can, and she does get to the sideline. Picks up a yard after using maybe 6-7 seconds on that play.
Yeah, Hedstrom chased her down finally just to deny her that more yardage on that play. So not much damage done, but more time wasted for these Austrians. 19
seconds remaining, so 9 seconds taken off the clock. 30 centimetres gained. Pritful's got to go to the air on 2nd and 10. At long 9. I think that'll be Sweden calling timeout. Indeed it is. Making sure they stay solid.
Timeout call by Sweden at 19 seconds. First timeout of the half.
Yeah, the Swedes making sure they don't allow anything silly after this long Austrian drive.
Yeah, they've been playing with a single safety at the back a lot of these times of Sweden while they pile the pressure on to these Austrians. So they might be thinking about a change of strategy here where they put additional defenders, maybe a cover 3, 3 deep defenders back on that 10-yard line just to make sure nothing gets behind them. But we'll see. Often that sometimes doesn't work for defenses that are not used to running cover 3 because it means you can complete something underneath and then juke your way into the end zone. So we'll see. Nothing to lose for the Austrians here. Everything to gain here if they can get that offense on the board. Again, just to emphasise, offense have not yet scored a point this entire championship.
And one thing that the Swedes have been very good at is wrapping up the tackling. They've not missed many tackles any time they've played this week. So Austrians do have a stout task in front of them with 19 seconds remaining. 2nd and 10 at the 34-yard line. Prickful. This time Lloyd's got some space to operate in. She goes down the seam to Lloyd, and I think that is going to be incomplete. A little bit low there for Lloyd. There's a flag down. 2 flags down, in fact. And that's in the vicinity of holding.
Lloyd got a little bit of separation there from the defender, and it looked like that had a chance to be complete if Pritful could have hit her in the numbers, but doesn't look like this one is going to be complete, and it may come back.
Let's have a listen to referee Parsons.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, illegal hands to the head, number 55 of the defence. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 88 of the defence. That will be enforced 15 yards, first down.
So even though the pass falls incomplete, they will get the ball around about at the point where Lloyd attempted the reception after those 2 personal foul penalties, 2 uncharacteristic personal foul penalties by the Swedes.
Wow. I mean, that was Stimfer's number 55 with the blow to the head. I didn't get the number on who was the culprit of the of tackling the quarterback, but we'll see.
We're around 15 seconds left, we believe, after that play. It's first down, and Pritful's going to the air. She puts it up, and that's over the intended receiver. That's number 4, and number 4 is Leubner, Alena Leubner, the intended receiver, which will bring 2nd and 10, but it will stop the clock with 9 seconds remaining.
9 seconds left. Do you have someone that can get into the end zone that you can get the ball to? You've got to have good pass protection here from that offensive line. We'll see whether the Swedes are going to send a blitz or whether they'll stay back.
That was going to be my question to you. What do you do if you're Sweden? Do you sit back or do you send that pressure?
They're going to sit back, Matt.
So here we go. Nobody in the backfield, and this time Pritful has time, no flags. She drops the ball out to Lloyd, and Lloyd manages to turn the corner, get out of bounds, and should be enough time left for at least one more play. And it is a first down as well. Really well done keeping her eyes downfield that time. Pritful escaping the pocket and finding her favourite receiver, and it's 1st and goal.
1 second left on the clock, Matt. Just a single click for the Austrians, who've got the deepest penetration into any team's half so far this championship. And this is their chance.
And from a neutral
This is their chance to get on the scoreboard.
From a neutral's perspective, you'd want the Austrians to go in here. As Pritful drops back, she rolls and escapes the pocket. She's under pressure. She escapes the tackle but can't escape the second tackle. And the Swedes do a very good job with a short field and keep the Austrians out. But that offensive drive for the Austrians will buoy them with a bit of confidence going into the second half.
Such a shame, isn't it?
That is the end of the first half.
The Swedes, Pritful pointing and gesticulating to the sidelines, not knowing what the play is, throws her hands up and says, "Coach, we had a chance there and we didn't maximise it." But again, when you're playing a defence like these Swedes, they're going to come with that pressure. It makes it very, very difficult to do anything against them. And they've held their account clean today, the only score coming from a pick.
So
forced fumble return.
Absolutely.
Actually.
So with the score at 28-6 here in Leeds, we'll sign off for this half and we'll bring you the second half to see whether the Austrians can build upon that momentum they've just gained. But for now, we'll take a break and we'll see you very shortly for the second half. much. We're ready to go when you are, Tom.
Let's get it out.
Welcome back to Leeds and the John Charles Centre for Sport here on this glorious August afternoon, as it's turned out now, Carl. Sun shining down on the field.
Very nice it is too.
We are in game 5 of 6 games of this 2019 Ifaf Women's European Championship, and you can see from the screen the Swedes have had a very strong first half and are currently 28-6 ahead of the Austrians. Once again, Carl, that Austrian score coming courtesy of their defence, and the Swedes really just piling it on from the offensive point of view.
They're trying to get to 35 points clear, and the reason they're trying to get to 35 points clear is because if all three of these teams, GB, Finland and Sweden, end up with 2 wins, it comes down to points, and they want an equal footing so that everyone gets a chance to see who actually wins his championship. Obviously GB will have to beat Finland for that. The chain crew, we can see.
I'll tell you what, yeah.
Sprint, you'll see them in the top left
Here
of
they
your
come.
screen. Here they come now.
Well, they've slowed down significantly.
I've
never seen a chain crew run that fast.
Oh, that was quick, wasn't it?
That was incredible.
That's what you get at international games.
Just finishing their lunch off and coming out after the teams. The teams are waiting for the chain crew as things turn out, but we've got Karen Ullen ready to kick off for Sweden once again, and Karen Ullen, as you may expect if you've been following the matches this week, has been instrumental yet again on that Swedish scoreboard, and she's going to be kicking towards Denise Stegmaier and Angelica Peters, although a little onside kick attempt from the Swedes to try and get the ball back, and it appears that they have done.
Wow, let's add insult to injury by getting an onside kick. The reason they're doing this is there is a reason, and they want to get to that 35 points clear, as we said just before that kick of that ball, and that would give them a chance to go equal with GB and Finland in a two-way, in a situation where all three of those teams had 2 wins.
Now, presumably you're watching this game because you've been following the action all week long. These 4 teams, Austria, Sweden, Finland and Great Britain, have made up this European Championship for 2019. And unless you've been living in a hole and this is the first time you've stumbled upon this tournament, you'll be aware that currently Finland have won 2 and lost none. The Swedes have won 1 and lost 1, as have Great Britain, and Austria are yet to win, as Johansson drops back and finds her intended receiver, who is number 81, Hannah Karlsson, on first down. That'll bring up 2nd and 1.
Malebna back on the field there. She had a little knock just before the half, and she actually went off for a few series, but she's back now. But that actually just went over her hands and into the arms of Karlsson. So I don't know whether there's something wrong with Malebna, but wouldn't normally. She is now lining up against Ullen at the top of your screen again.
So 2nd and 1 for the Swedes. Johansson drops back to pass, hits Karen Ullen in stride, and Ullen bounces off 2 defenders past the 30-yard line. It'll be first down Sweden inside the 30 at the 28.
Yeah, she's got such a big body, Ullen. She's able to turn Malebna, so Malebna trying to stay with her, which she does pace for pace. They both have good speed, but Ullen just uses that big body to shield Malebna from the ball, makes the reception, and another first down as Sweden keep on moving.
So a nice positive start after that cheeky onside kick by Karen Ullen and the Swedish special teams. Twins either side this time as Johansson looks to audible, sees something in the defence that she likes the look of, and she's going to go back to the air, and she goes up top looking for a receiver who's got the football at the 5, and he's dragged down by number 11. That's Christina Marie Egger.
Yeah, it's Karlsson again with the catch for Sweden. A couple of receptions during this game, and she's asking to be swapped out. Obviously just took a knock as she went to the ground, but that gives Sweden a great opportunity here to get to, what would it be, 35-6. Still need another score to get that 35-point buffer that they're after, but this is great field position for them to start this drive.
Whatever was in the water at half-time for the Swedes has fired them up. And Johansson fakes that handoff again and strolls in from 4 yards out for the next score of the afternoon for the Swedes. That'll be the 5th touchdown this afternoon. 34-6 Sweden, and they were before half-time really, but now they're out of sight.
Yeah, run option, double option on that one. They either go to Hedstrom or Johansson, and they're going to make the defender Moa Hansen. They're going to make her wrong every time. So if she goes after the runner, which she did then, Johansson just keeps the ball straight up the field. Good blocking 34 points to 6.
Good understanding of how to run that particular concept by Johansson. Snap is down, kick is up, and the extra point is added. 35 to 6 now for the Swedes. And the Austrians will probably feel a little disgruntled about the fact that Sweden came out with that onside kick at the beginning of the half, with the margin as it was.
That's why the Austrians deferred. You remember at the beginning of the half, it backfired on them because they fumbled the ball early on and threw an interception early on and gave Sweden the ball on the opening drive.
Well,
and now they've done exactly the same here because Sweden have just done the onside kick and just wiped off the coin toss from the ball.
And even before that, if you remember, the opening kick of the game, Karen Ullen went the length of the field and scored.
Exactly. So you've got a situation where they may as well. They didn't get the ball at the beginning of the third quarter. They're only getting it now after the Swedes have scored.
Fantastic support for the Swedes in the stadium. You can hear the drummer down below, making it difficult for Carl and I to hear each other as the ball is fielded at the 35, and well fielded by the returner for Austria, who is just trying to get a number on that. Number 82.
82, not 32.
Yeah, 82. 82 over here. We'll get that number for you as soon as we can. There we go. It's Barbara Schrager who manages to do the return duties there. Gives Austria a decent field position. And once again, if you were with us at the end of the first half, Austria built a nice drive, got to the 9-yard line of the Swedes before they ran out of time. First down, Pripful and the Austrian offense. Tight bunch formation to the left. And Pripful does well on that run option. Reads the defender very well. And I think that defender is somebody we've mentioned before. It's Aspenberg, who absolutely smothers the runner, but Pripful had pulled the ball and managed to pick up 3 yards to bring up 2nd and 7.
Yeah, a nice read by Pripful, but poor running back there was a bit of a dummy and ended up getting absolutely levelled by Aspenberg.
So 2nd and 7 for the Austrians. Pitch out to the right. It's a low pitch, and as a result, poor old Siri Knapp can't do anything but drop on it, and Pripful walks away looking disgusted with herself because, yeah, realistically, if Knapp had secured that ball, she had a little bit of room.
So again, it's inconsistency from the Austrians, and it is that thing where you've got 3 very good teams here. You've got Finland, GB and Sweden. All have been competitive with each other. We'll see how GB match up against Finland so far, but there's no reason to think that wouldn't be a competitive game. The Austrians just haven't been able to compete consistently with those teams during this championship, and their woes are continuing in the second half of this game. And still not got on the scoreboard as an offence.
Pripful drops back to pass then on 3rd and 11. She puts the ball down. Oh, and in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and I think that's 81, and that is Denise Sharadich, I believe, who hangs her head, who would have more than likely been able to turn and pick up the first down there for Austria. But
yeah, decent design, good execution from Pripful, decent blocking from the offensive line, but somebody somewhere along this on these plays is letting this team down each time, and disappointing for the Austrians. They would have liked to have completed that one.
Different punter on now. It looks like Christina Maria Gull on to punt in relief of Madlik, who had the punting duty in the first half. See whether or not that's a nice snap. That's off the side of Gull's boot as well, and it does take an Austrian bounce forward and is fielded at midfield, where Sweden will take over again, looking to go over the 40-point barrier. 1st and 10, Sweden.
Don't get a lot of time with these teams during the run-up to these championships because they're playing their club football all over Austria, and as a result, you know what gets squeezed is special teams time, and Austria struggling in the last couple of times we've seen them kick. Not an effective punt, and Sweden will take over again, and this time they will be driving for that 35-point cushion, which they'll get on the next touchdown if they get there. Let's see what these Austrians can do with Milevna and others to stop them from getting to that point.
So Sweden been very much, that's going to be a false start against 4 or 5 Swedes, not knowing the cadence on that call, and that's going to march them back 5 yards.
False start. Offence number 22, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Referee Peter Parsons and his crew of Stuart Taberer, Liam Wootton, Alicia Darkins, Philip Hume, Alexandra Naumann, Daniel Soholm and Burke Karachik. And we, as ever, thank the officials for enabling this game and this tournament all week to go on as professionally as it has done. But 1st and 10 becomes 1st and 15 for Johansson and the Swedish offence. Swedes very much been a nice surprise this week. I think they were possibly the third-ranked team coming in, and they managed to outscore, just out of the reach of the intended receiver, they managed to outscore the Brits 9-6 on Monday evening. Ran the Finns very close in a real back-and-forth encounter on Wednesday afternoon. That was 27-20 in favour of the Finns, and definitely their programme moved in the right direction.
Yeah, the Finns and the Swedes, both of those countries have done well and made up ground on GB, and were able to, certainly the Swedes were able to compete, and Finland were able to beat the Swedes. So both of those teams, good programmes now, good strong programmes in both of those Nordic countries. 2nd
and 15. And Johansson drops back to pass, slings it, and it's out of the reach this time. Losing a little bit of accuracy at the beginning of the second half is Johansson, looking for her go-to player of Karen Ullen, but that will bring up 3rd and 15.
Yeah, disappointing. Malebna sort of lurking there as well, to see whether she could get a sniff at that ball. She'd love another interception, wouldn't she? Another touchdown for her, that would give her a hat-trick for the championships. And she was close, or there or thereabouts on that one.
A reminder that at the culmination of this game, we have what could be the championship decider between Finland and the GB Lions. That's kicking off at 7 p.m. here in Leeds. As on 3rd and 15, Johansson drops back, she goes over the middle, and that ball is underthrown, and the intended receiver didn't really have an opportunity to come up with that one. So it'll be 4th down and 15. And the Austrians hold.
It's tough when you get to 35 points to 6 to keep the gas, you know, your foot on the gas and keep driving hard, simply because you're so far ahead. That the momentum does inevitably fade, and this is the point where you would normally be bringing in backups, but because of this 35-point cushion, the Swedes want to keep the pressure on.
Sorry for my sharp intake of breath there. Karen Ullen puts a foot through that one, and it travels 50 yards almost, and is down inside the 25-yard line, and Austria will retake the field. 35-6 in favour of Sweden currently. Lots of football going on at this time of year all around the world. Obviously NFL pre-season, we've got the British Domestic League in the playoffs. We've obviously got this European Championship. There's flag finals going on currently in Manchester, adult flag finals of the British American Football Association. Tomorrow will be Tamworth Phoenix against the London Blitz in a playoff game from Tamworth, and Carl and I will be there to bring you that one as Pritfall keeps and then pitches, and that's a very well designed and executed play, faking the handoff up the middle. Pritfall then takes as much as she can carry with the support of Lisa Putz on her left shoulder, and then pitches it out to Putz right at the last minute and picks up 8 yards. 2nd and 2.
Yeah, some nice hits going in from these Swedes. Again, that was Bengtsson. We called her name a number of times, just lowered the boom on that one to end Lisa Putz's nice run, but it was good yards from the Austrians.
2nd and manageable. You'd expect a first down to be picked up as the D-line shift in a gap in the middle, and Pritfall keeps the football once again, and she's going to be wrapped up close to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Swedes are moving players around at the line of scrimmage, keeping these offensive linemen guessing, keeping them off balance. And on that one, it was Mallory Fraisch that came free, but it could be any one of these defensive linemen that are coming free to fill these gaps. Very difficult for the offense for Austria to read where the pressure's going to come from.
So the outcome of this one is really not in question anymore. Swedes comfortably ahead in the 3rd period, but as a neutral, you would like to see the Austrians get something together, get on the board, get their offense going home with that's a nice reception, going home with something to show for their week's efforts, as that is 1st down to Lloyd. And the Austrians again show promise with that offense, and Pritfall's on.
Yeah, when they can get this, when they can get the quick passing game going again. I mean, Sweden blitz 2 linebackers through the A's and B gaps there, and Pritfall does enough to manage to get the ball over the top to a receiver. Did well that time, Pritfall. 1st and 10.
Pritfall going to the air again, looking for the slot in and out of the hands of Leubner. That ball just took off on Pritfall, and she again walks away back to the huddle with her head hanging, beating herself up. The fact that she didn't necessarily step into that throw sufficiently enough to keep it down. 2nd and 10, Austria. Swedish drummer continues to assist his defence. Low snap, but fielded well by Pritful. Goes to the out pattern, and Lloyd does pull this one in. She's met almost immediately by two Swedish defenders, one of whom is Bengtsson.
Yeah, we've called Bengtsson's name a number of times. She's all over the field at the moment, having to make these plays for defensive back position because Austria are doing a good job at completing these passes, Matt. And I think what we saw at the end of the first half with Austria driving all the way down to the 5-yard line, they're not being able to get in, just ran out of time, was that they can have a sustained drive, and it looks like this is another example of what they can do when they get everything clicking.
3rd and 4 then for Austria, two backs behind Pritful, and Pritful pulls it again and decides not to pitch it this time, and she's got space inside the 50 all the way to the 46-yard line, and another well-executed option.
Getting a 15 on that one. Prepsel, you know, we've said all way through the championship when we've seen Austria play, we've said, you know, this girl's got talent, she's good, she can run, she can pass, she's really holding this Austrian offence together, and she's impressed me, Matt. I'm hoping she gets a chance to put a score up.
Yeah.
And because she deserves it, she's played very well.
So first down Austria in Swedish territory. Whoa, and then the high snap, and it's well picked up, and it's great awareness by Siri Knapp. The ball goes over Pritful's head, and the offensive coordinator was saying, yeah, that's just how I drew that one up.
I know. And the centre was like, yeah, of course it was going to Siri Knapp. I do that.
So 2nd and 9 for Austria after what could have been disaster turns into a positive play. And if there is one inconsistency, and there are a number of them, but one inconsistency has been that centre quarterback exchange, and we've talked about it all week for the Austrians. So 2nd and 9, two receivers to the left, two backs in the backfield, and one of those puts comes in motion. Gives her an option to swing that out to puts, and she does do that, checks down and swings it out, and if Putz had been able to hold on to that, she would have been able to pick up positive yardage. And again, another well-designed play and very well read by Pritful. Goes through her reads. Receiver 1's not there. Receiver 2's not there. Checks down to her halfback coming out of the backfield, and should have been a positive play for the Austrians if Putz had held on to it.
It was laid out right beautifully for Putz, because it was laid out just in front of her, a yard in front, so you can get some momentum, catch the ball, go on through, but actually seemed to have a bit too much zip on it, if anything.
So 3rd down again, this time Knapp goes in motion to the other side. Looks similar play, but to the other side, but Pritful is going to keep this one. A design quarterback draw, trying to take the eyes of the linebackers away and drag defenders out as Knapp goes in motion on that one, and a pickup of 3 yards maybe will bring up 4th down and 6. In fact, looking where the chains are, they're not crediting Pritful with as many yards as we have. It's 4th and 8.
No reason to come off the field for these Austrians.
No,
Let's
not
push
at all
for that score. And what this does, this will frustrate the Swedes, because if they do score, they do stay on the field, it gives the Swedes less time to get that 34-point buffer that they want.
So here we go then, Pritful on 4th down. She's got a player in the corner. It's over the top and intercepted. It's number 12 for Sweden. That's Peloci, and Peloci gets out to midfield before she's brought down. And another disappointing end to a promising Austrian drive.
Yeah, Pritful just overthrew that one, overthrew all of her receivers. Only had one receiver out there on the flat, out there on the seam pass rather, and overthrew her. And it was a good interception in the end. Pritful happened to cover to make the saving tackle. So a promising drive for Austria actually comes to an end on 4th down, and it will give the Swedes just outside the Austrian half, but it gives them 1st and 10.
So here we go again.
Starter's still in by the looks of things, Matt.
Indeed. And this time we've got the runner number 6 for Sweden now, so change of back. That's Moa Toll, who is in playing halfback. Johansson still in there at quarterback as things stand. Lindner also in on offense at the moment.
Suzanne Rechbauer again on the tackle for the Austrians. She's played well today, made several plays.
So positive yardage not managed that time. Austria, their lateral pursuit is good. And here comes Karen Ullen from that Wildcat again, and she tries to exploit the middle, but that's a solid stand by the Austrian front 4. A pickup of 3, which will bring up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, Reckbauer in on that again, and other Austrian players as well. So 26 and 46 combined to make that tackle. That's Maria Wengler and Suzanne Reckbauer on Ullin to deny her further yards. Brings up third down.
So Austria, as they have done a number of times this afternoon, put Sweden in third and long. But then the Swedes, more often than not, find a way through. Let's see if they can this time. And again, it's Ullin who keeps the football in a good tackle on the 45-yard line. It's number 11 for Austria. Egger on the tackle.
Yeah, Marie Egger, we've called her name a couple of times as well. Nice tackle by Egger to deny Ullin the first down. Brings up fourth. Austrians get the ball back. And maybe this third quarter is going to go a little bit back and forth after that initial score from the Swedes. You often get a bit of a stalemate in these high-scoring games.
There's an Austrian gone back to return a potential punt, but Johansson and the offence remain on the field, and they jump to the Austrians, and that's going to be an automatic first down and a free play, and that's in and out of the hands of number 82 for Austria. Emma Sancho is the intended receiver, but that's going to be encroachment against the defence.
Offside. Defence number 44, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that's a shame for the Austrians.
The Austrians just can't cut a break, can they? They managed to get an incomplete pass, and yet they have an encroachment penalty on defence, which gives these Swedes another first down. Decent zing on that ball, I thought, from Johansson, one of the strongest throws she's made.
So much time back there, though, Johansson. Not been really under pressure. The only time she's felt any pressure is on a bad snap, and she looks to the air again, side arms it out, and the usually reliable Karen Ullin drops this one.
Difficult one to catch that one by Ullin. Low and behind her, so she's having to twist her body around to get hold of it. She does get some hands to it, but can't haul that one in.
And that time it was partly because Johansson was feeling a little bit of pressure in her face, forcing her to get the ball out a little sooner than she would have liked. So 2nd and 10, Sweden on the 40-yard line of Austria. Johansson fakes one way, then gives it the other way, and it's Karen Ullin again, who's not been touched yet, and she gets past the player at the 40, at the 30, then to the 20, all the way down until she's wrapped up at the 25, the 15-yard line. First down, Sweden.
Yeah, another 23-yard pickup from Karen Ullin on that. Done that numerous times in the championships. They just loft it out to her in the flat. She picks up her blockers and picks her way, looks for that space, and then turns on the jets when she can. Decent covering tackle from the Austrians, but again, Swedes marching after that fourth down penalty, and it feels inevitable that they will get to that 42 points and that 35-point buffer that they need. 1
minute remaining in the third period here in Leeds, and the Swedes find themselves 16 yards away from their 6th score this afternoon. All those scores have been converted as well. Perfect as far as kicking's concerned, and now the officials blow the play dead.
Delay of game, offence number 10, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So it's going to be 1st and 15 after the delay of game penalty. Lots of motion going on there, and not necessarily getting to the right place quick enough for the Swedes that time.
Another rare mistake from the Swedes. Normally very good game management from Johansson. Made a couple of errors today.
Pushes the Swedes outside of the red zone, and if anything might give them a little bit of an advantage, because we mentioned all week about once you get inside that 20, real estate becomes a premium, and it's easier for that defensive team to cover those gaps. Johansson out to Ullin, and Ullin is met by Malebner, and she hangs on strongly, does Malebner, as then her teammates all come to, and there's a potential. Well, there's an injury on the field to begin with, and
time out
for Austria.
My time.
Yeah, Sabine Reckbauer going down there, and it was a nice play by Malebner just to hold up Ullin enough for her teammates to rally. Number 26 was in on the tackle, Wengler as well, but we hope that Sabine Reckbauer is okay. They're going to want to check this.
Oh, the way she's been slamming the floor there, Carl, we wouldn't like to speculate, but it looks like a leg injury, and the way she was slamming the floor in frustration. It's not the way anybody wants to end any game, let alone when you've been away from home for a week. You're so close to the end, and now they're asking the medics to come on.
It's been refreshing to see. We haven't had a lot of serious injuries in this championship so far, but it is 3 games condensed into a week, and that would be difficult for
it's a lot to ask
any teams, let alone playing at this international level with teams that have been working very hard to get ready and are coming and bringing everything they can to the game. So we hope Sabine Rechbauer is okay. She's sat up now. She's thinking about whether they take her helmet off.
So while we've got this slight break in play, Carl, obviously we've seen the 5 games so far that they've been on this week. What's impressed you most about the standard, if you like? What's impressed you most about what's been on offer this week?
Well, I think you've seen a number of teams improve from when we saw women's football before. In terms of, the Finns have been very impressive in that first opening game in terms of their running game and some of the athletes that they've managed to locate. The program's clearly grown. The Swedish program's clearly grown, and our own GB Lions as well. They've been impressive. But generally, I thought that the games have been of a high quality. There's been some good tackling going in, there's been some great runs going in, some good athletes on show. Everything you would expect from an international tournament that of this calibre. So it really has lived up to billing. And what I've been surprised more than anything is you've got 3 teams which are very closely matched, and with international programmes going on across, in different countries, it's very difficult to gauge what the level is.
Absolutely.
But then you've got some interesting contrast between, say, the Austrian men's game, which is hugely dominant in Europe, and then the women's game, which is still kind of making their way and building a programme. So it's been interesting and raised some questions as well about European football and how the different leagues kind of translate the talent pool of coaches, and how that kind of infiltrates and permeates into other modes of the sport, including ladies football. So lots of interesting questions and lots of interesting games.
One thing that struck me from both the responses we've had on Twitter, but also from in the stand, is the support that these ladies teams is getting is quite phenomenal. Both from a domestic point of view, but also internationally. It's from programs and individuals all around Europe. There's a genuine interest in the women's game, and it's an arm, a facet of American football that I think is really is blowing up.
But you also feel like it's caught the crest of a wave of ladies sports generally, haven't
absolutely.
you? I mean, you had the summer of ladies sport really with the GB netball team doing so well, and GB soccer team doing so well, and Football World Cup, etc.
Yeah.
So you feel like American football's right up there as well. It'd be nice to have bigger crowds coming along to these sorts of games and more interest in the game that we love. And I know all of you watching out there love the game too, and would like to see it continue to grow and continue to draw these crowds. But we've had some really strong ambassadors for the ladies game throughout this tournament, and it's been really good to see.
And you mentioned as well about the coaching pool, and not so long ago in Nottingham, actually at the University of Nottingham, there was the annual BAFCA Coaches Conference, where coaches from all over the world, really, I know you were part of that as well, got together and obviously sharing ideas and just trying to grow the game globally, in fact.
Yeah, and we had female coaches there doing their bit to contribute to that, and obviously lots of GB Lions players and coaches were there at BAFCA Conference, either presenting or attending or learning and doing their own, making their own contribution to that event.
So, unfortunately, we've got a little bit of an extended break here while the injured player is attended to. Let's turn our attention to this evening's game just for a few minutes. Obviously, with all due respect to the Austrians, this one is almost gone away from the Austrian reach. So we've got Finland and Great Britain who are kicking off at 7 o'clock this evening. We've very much seen the strength of the Finns is that running game, and Kuusinen, who has racked up all sorts of numbers over her first 2 games out here in Leeds this week. On the flip side for Great Britain, there is Ruth Matter amongst other people, but she seems to be the engine room of that British offence. We've already mentioned that Finland winning by any score will secure the championship, as it's good to see Rechbauer getting back to her feet, even though she's been assisted. Yeah, so we already mentioned Finland winning by any margin, even by a point, will be crowned champions. The Brits need to win by 6 points. What do you expect to see from those 2 outfits? What type of game is it going to be? Is it going to be a cagey one, or are people going to let fly?
Yeah, I mean, the GB Lions defence, as this player gets helped off, so it's good to see Sabine Rechbauer getting a good deal of applause from the crowd here as she makes her way across the field. You can see the pain on her face, but she'll be pleased that she was able to walk off and not be stretchered off. and hopefully that injury will be okay. But yeah, GB Lions defence up against Rasmussen and this tough Finnish offence is the battle that I want to see. GB Lions defence is the top defence so far across this competition. They've let in fewer points than any other defence. So I'm interested to see how that battle plays out and whether they can stop Kuusinen.
Yeah, Kuusinen.
Sorry, did I say Rasmussen?
You said Rasmussen, but that's no problem. I know
Kuusinen.
Kuusinen.
I mean, number 34.
Tighty Kuusinen. Anyway, glad to say we are back underway here in Leeds. It's 2nd and 17. Let's see if that extended period of time out has affected the Swedes at all, but it hasn't, as Hedstrom takes the hand off and gets close to first down yardage inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Yeah, they just ended the third.
That is the end of the third quarter.
Into the fourth. The Swedes just picking up where they left off after that, before that injury break, coming out with Hedstrom, making a good gain to give them a manageable 3rd down.
So at the end of the third period here in Leeds, 35-6 in favour of the Swedes, and it's a fair enough result. We've seen flashes of potential from the Austrians, a couple of drives they've strung together which have unfortunately come to nothing. At the end of the first half we thought the Austrians might find the end zone, but time ran out when they were on the 9-yard line, and once again in this third period the Austrians were driving, but unfortunately for them, good play by that Swedish defence stifled that attempt. And as we have it now and we go into the fourth quarter, the Swedes will look to extend their lead and, as you mentioned, get ahead of that 35-point margin, which will increase their chances of securing a title should things go their way in the British-Finland game later on this evening. So 3rd and 3, 3rd and a long 2-3 yards, somewhere around there.
Yeah, sorry Matt, go ahead.
No, go for it. I'm just filling. If you've got something worthwhile saying, you go for it.
I'll come back after this play.
Here we go then, 3rd and 3, Johansson and Sweden. And it's given to Lidner, and we've not called Lidner's name too often on offence so far, but she takes it inside the 5 for 1st and goal, Sweden.
Yeah, Lidner making an impact on offence. I was just going to say, from a Swedish perspective, it must be a little bit frustrating for them that they don't have the championship in their own hands. GB Lions, just as a matter of scheduling, really, they go into the game against Finland because they play Finland second. Yeah. They go into the game with the championship in their own hands after winning, and they know exactly by how many points they have to win. Poor old Sweden, they just got to just keep scoring, get that 35-point buffer, and just hope that they get into that 2-game. You know, all those teams get into a 2-game tie.
And like you say, the Swedes will be frustrated by that, by the fact that they actually beat the Brits earlier in the week. And yet it's the Brits that have still got the lovely little inside pitch there to Lidner, and Lidner is close and backs into the end zone. Touchdown, Sweden. No flags on the play, and that's the 40-point margin, a 40-point barrier rather, broken for Sweden. And Lidner gets in on the scoring action as well. Another scorer for the Swedes.
That's going to be it. That is the 35-point margin, as you said, Matt, that they need. Lidner's a load to bring down, and she knew once. I mean, that little shovel pass underneath. Not seen it again from the Swedes. I can't recall that we've seen it at all. So the Swedes, in the last game of this championship, bringing some new plays as they go for 2 here.
Yeah, with Lidner from the Wildcat, and Lidner is going to go straight. Oh, and then the little dump over the top, which is successful. And it's caught by Johansson, I believe, but there are flags. Whether or not was Lidner past the 2-yard line when she threw that? That's where the ball was spotted. I wonder if it's an illegal forward pass.
Might be, or ineligible receiver in the end. I have no idea.
Let's have a little listen. We've not played our flag game yet this week, Cole. Anyway.
Pass interference, offence number 10, 15-yard penalty, still a try.
Oh, so it's actually pass interference.
It's always the obvious ones you miss, isn't it, man?
Offensive pass
simple
interference.
Pass interference.
Offensive pass interference. You don't often, they're a little more difficult to spot, and it was actually Johansson who was called for it, who ended up catching the football for the 2-pointer. So it is a 15-yard penalty, and now it'll be an 18-yard PAT try. And this time, on comes Rydberg, attempting the kick rather than
wonder
the 2.
why they were going for 2. I just think it was a chance to show off that play, wasn't it?
I think it possibly was.
Any score implication
whatsoever. No. And now and then the trickery again, and Rydberg keeps the football, and she's going to be met after a pickup of 3, and that one doesn't work either. And you can see that was a designed fake kick as well. So pulling out all the stops deep into the playbook for the Swedes.
Well, I tell you what, the Swedes have come in huge numbers, and they've managed to get drums into the country some way or another. Viking drums that they've been pummeling throughout. So they want something to shout about.
11
Swedes doing everything they can to give him something to shout about, Matt.
Sorry, Carl. So 11:31 left in the fourth. That's come with 29 seconds on the clock, or gone in the fourth period. 29 seconds gone until that latest Swedish touchdown. Back deep to receive are Lloyd and Lloyd, the 2 returners, as they have been all week. Karen Ullen has to respot the football again as it blows off the tee. Ullen does have a powerful leg, but whether it'll reach those 2 returners, they haven't often gone all the way back there this week, these kickoffs from any team. Ullen strikes the ball, and it does get a decent amount of time, and it's going to be Lloyd who's going to pick it up on her 21 and then reverses it, fakes reverse, and actually quite a good decision because it freezes a couple of Swedish special teamers. Now she tries to reverse the field, gets to the 25, and is brought down by 3 Swedish tacklers, and Austria will retake the field, attempting to hit double figures for the first time this week.
Now, the Swedes will want to come out and defend this 35-point lead that they've got. It's important that they do so. I think that the Swedes were trying to get this extra 2-pointer just to put the emphasis on the fact that they were within that buffer. They just wanted to make sure that they were. But an important drive for Sweden to defend, and the Austrians will equally want to come out with the attitude that we want to score before this competition is over.
Absolutely. So, should be still some good players. We've got a new quarterback in for the Austrians, and it's Daniela Schultz, and Schelk with a flag down, which may well be for holding. Peter Parsons with the call, if you can hear him over the drummer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defence number 95, 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
It's a first down for Austria after a roughing the passer call. So Daniela Schelk, her first induction into the game, she draws a personal foul penalty. So already responsible for a big chunk of yardage on that one, and the Austrians are close to halfway. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right for Schelk. And she goes to the air, throws out to the left, completes the pass to Lloyd, and Lloyd still battling after a pickup of 4 yards, 2nd and 6.
Yeah, here come the Austrians. They've got close a couple of times. They got very close towards the end of the first half. They've just got to put a sustained drive together. And if they do, then they do have a chance with this. If they show consistency to get into this end zone against the Swedes, end this competition on a high.
Good for the Austrian coach as well, giving the depth chart players a run out. Schelk coming in here after Prickfall's had a really good week, been very good. Now Schelk has a load of room, and she makes a move, lovely block, and then falls forward, but she does pick up a first down. Beautiful block there from Nina Hradsky.
Yeah, absolutely. Good spot, Matt. Sometimes exhausting having to run around this place. The quarterback just says, I'll just have a rest right here.
She knew exactly where the flags were, knew she'd picked up first down yardage, and decided just to have a bit of a lay down. But anyway, Schelk getting this Austrian offense moving in the fourth period. Around 10 minutes left in the fourth period. Schelk on first down, then drops back to pass again. She looks, makes a read, and now she's taken far too long there, and that's Nikias.
Nikias just putting an exclamation point on that sack. Picks her up, drills her into the turf. Nothing illegal about it. Good hit. 2nd
and 15 for Austria upcoming. And Schelk might have been thinking, you know what, this game wasn't too bad. We've managed to move the ball quite easily on the first 3 plays. Oh, bang. Now slam back to reality. But she'll get another opportunity on 2nd and 15. 2 receivers either side again, one back to her left, and this time the ball is pulled, and that's really well done again by Schelk, and that read option, double run option in fact.
Yeah, the Swedes dragging her down to the turf. She had a chance there, Schelch, to go outside rather than inside off the back of that block from number 54, which was a decent block from the Austrians. We don't have a name for that. Oh yes, we do. It's Kinbrahim, Ida Kinbrahim.
So third and long, third and 11 for the Austrians as Hradsky comes in motion. Schelk surveys the field. Doesn't look like it's going to be a particularly strong rush, and they only rush 4 linemen. Schelk has time, she bounces, looks again, and now pulls the ball. Looks like she's going to take off, and she tentatively heads towards the Swedes and then decides it might be a better idea to duck out of bounds than drop her shoulder and take on those Swedish linebackers.
She was right, because Veronica Nikias looked like she was absolutely
teeing her up
after another one there after the sack. She wanted another chance to hit this quarterback coming in. Brings up 4th down. So she's shown some of what she can do. Let's see if she's got the poise to cope with the Swedish defence on 4th down.
Well, understandably, it's going to take her a while to get up to game speed, and the nice thing is you can see she's not just targeting one receiver and making rash decisions. She's making her reads. Something's not there, she's going to her next read. Not doing anything stupid, forcing the football, keeping hold of it, and ball security, and making sure that her team keep possession. So intelligent play from Schelk on her first drive as she looks downfield again. She bounces outside and the ball is dropped. And when I mentioned about ball security, unfortunately she lets that one slide out, and number 72, Maria Pribble, comes to her rescue, but it's only a rescue to stop Sweden securing the ball and moving it forward, because that was 4th down and it will be Sweden football once again.
Yeah, you're in the Ifaf Ladies European Championship 2019 and you're against Sweden, and it's 4th down, and the pressure can get to you on that play, definitely.
The ball was fumbled on 4th down, as it was fumbled forwards and recovered by someone other than the fumbler. The ball will go back to the spot of the fumble.
At this week's IFAF Women's European Championships. And as we mentioned earlier, it's been refreshing to see all these ladies out on the field, giving it their all for their countries. And even now, even with 8 minutes left and the game out of the reach of the Austrians, there's still a lot to play for, playing with a lot of pride. As Johansson drops back to pass again, and she's going up top, and Madlik was trying to make a play on the ball that time, and it was Winberg for Sweden. Receiver had to switch roles and almost play defensive back to stop Madlik making the pick.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Johansson's still playing quarterback, still in there, and presumably they're going to bring some backups in, maybe give Ullin a chance to do something else. But they're clearly they want to impress this crowd, and they're still putting the ball up. They're not going to go to a ground offense, grind it out. They're putting the ball up in the air and still trying to create touchdowns.
And now, if we say that, the ball goes to the ground, and that's Zhao. Zhao picks up 5 yards to bring up 3rd and 5. I wonder if in their mind they're trying to better the finish 50 points, just to sort of put a marker down there.
Maybe they're looking at the 3-way tie, and then they're thinking, all right, well, if that points difference comes back onto the table with a 3-way tie with all 3 teams with 2 wins, then we need to put as many points up as we can. They've already outscored GB against Austria.
Absolutely. So Zhao once again bounces off to the right-hand side. She's got 1st down. She hasn't been touched by an Austrian defender. She pushed stiff arms one. She's still on her feet at the 20. Gets inside the 15 and dragged down at the 14-yard line. 1st down, Sweden.
Yeah, 40-yard pickup from Zhao, and she's shown some strength as this competition has progressed over these 3 games. She's become more and more of an important factor in this Swedish offence as they do look to pile up these points.
So the pressure continues to build. No remorse being shown. No empathy by these Swedes. As you've mentioned, it is very much in their minds about the point differential, that they want to ensure they've got as many in the bag as possible. As once again, this time it's handed off to number 6, and that's Toll again, who gets inside the 5, close to 1st down yardage, but she will be just short. It'll be 2nd and a yard. Can still get a 1st down without scoring.
That's interesting. I'm reading it from the IFAF website, and there's a paragraph in here. It says that teams agree. There was agreement between nations prior to the tournament that any victory, if a points difference in the game is greater than 35 points, only those 35 points would count. This was to prevent teams having the opportunity to run up scores.
Yeah.
And isn't this exactly what Sweden are doing here?
Absolutely.
And so you have to question, well, why not bring the backups up and play those backups against Austria? But nevertheless, we're not the coaches down on the field. I'm sure they have their reasons.
Johansson hands off the toil again, and she puts her foot in the ground, turns, does get a first down. It's going to be first and goal on the 1 after a 4-yard pick-up for Toll.
So the Swedes knocking on the door again. First and goal, and you would expect them to go in here.
Looking over to our left, and the beautiful, majestic Leeds skyline towers over us here. And
the crown
timeout
jewel
taken.
of Yorkshire.
Timeout called by Sweden at 5:37. First time out of the half.
So timeout called with 5:37 remaining by Sweden.
Some people on Twitter already are turning their attention to the game this evening. Michelle Gwynn says a win by 6 points for GB to take gold in the Women's European Championship. Kick off 7 p.m. Let's go team. So it's good to see the support already beginning to build for that big game this evening, Matt.
And from what we heard on Wednesday when we were doing our commentary, there were no end of people planning to make the journey up here.
So we wonder what the Swedes will come out with here. We've seen shovel pass, we've seen Ullin in the flat, we've seen a whole bunch of plays from these Swedes, some of which we haven't seen in the whole championship game, the whole championships rather.
We've just been informed, Carl, that number 50, Alexandra Thornstrand, is changing her jersey to number 35. So obviously, by the looks of things, trying to possibly get her involved with the football. So she's got an eligible number on. As
empty set.
Toll goes in motion, there's a flag down that is caught in the end zone, but there's a flag from Parsons. I don't think this one's going to count.
I think they're going to call
illegal procedure.
Yeah, illegal procedure that the player did not set after
Yep.
going in motion.
Yep. I do believe that will be the call. I think it was Toll, number 6, who motioned out and then didn't set facing the right direction. She faced back towards Johansson. Let's have a listen to referee Parsons.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 85 of Sweden. She replaced her jersey and failed to report to the referee. 15-yard penalty, first down. That is number 85's first unsportsmanlike.
I'm afraid I heard the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty call, but didn't quite grasp the explanation.
It was against 85, but I didn't get the reason either. Nevertheless, it marches Sweden back out of the red zone, 15-yarder. Yeah, we're hearing 55 failed to report as an eligible receiver. So,
Right.
That's
It's Ellen Thimfors.
so interesting. All these little personnel shifts that they're making,
Absolutely.
changing shirt numbers, and putting Thimfor in as an eligible receiver position. What are the Swedes up to, man?
Well, what it does mean is it's now first and goal, but instead of being on the 1, it's first and goal on the 16. As Johansson drops back, oh, wide open receiver who drops the ball. A sure 6 points there for Carlson. And whether or not she's looking back into the sun a little bit there, but there was no one around her, blown coverage. And, well, inexcusable really, that one.
Yeah, we've seen Ullin run a number of those and just, picked them off and done all sorts of stuff with them, shielded her body, caught them in space and gone for touchdowns, and that's why Ullin's on the field and Carlson plays backup.
So second and goal from the 16. Mentioned earlier on that our focus will be turning to the final game of this tournament, kicking off at 7 p.m. Finland versus Great Britain. As Johansson fakes to Ullin and then hands off to Hedström, and it looks like, I think that's number 8 Hedström rather than number 6. That is touchdown for Sweden, so delaying the inevitable really.
Yeah, great blocking.
Hedström gets in on the action.
Great blocking from the offensive line. Ellen Thimfors out there blocking. We called her name before, Frida Grandland blocking. I mean, they're good offensive line, the Swedes, and they just opened that hole up for Hedström to take in their 7th score of the day.
And Rydberg back on to attempt to most recent extra point, which is good. So Rydberg is perfect from extra point land. And our score is Sweden 48, Austria 6. 4:58 remaining in this one this afternoon. So 48-6, increasing that margin.
We've seen it all from these Swedes today offensively. They've managed to score every which way that an offense can score on a defense. They've scored on the ground with great blocking. They've scored through the air. They've scored on little shovel passes. They've kick returned, and they've really battered this Austrian team into submission and are in controlling in all aspects of the game.
I suppose the one jewel they're missing is a defensive score, Carl, but we'll allow them not to have that.
One thing that the Austrians have over the Swedes.
Ullen kicks off, and the ball drifts inside the 25-yard line, where it's returned by Lloyd, who makes one tackle and miss, and then reverses field back up to the middle, and she does very well to get out to the 44-yard line, where Austria will have 5 minutes or so to see if they can add to their points tally for the week.
Right, come on, Austria. We've seen you impress. You've got support in the ground. You've got support on social media. We've seen all the tweets coming in from Austrian supporters back home. You've been supported by Europearl to come out here and get out here to the European Championships. And we've seen flashes of excellence from this team. I'd really like to see them put something on the board towards the end of this championship.
Schelk still in at quarterback, and that's going to be a flag. And it appeared that the receiver at the top of your screen initially moved. I thought Schweiger, number 82, was guilty initially, but then the two receivers down to the bottom of your screen also.
False start, offence number 52, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Pick your poison. Any one of 3 Austrians guilty that time, bringing up 1st and 15. So not the most auspicious of starts for the Austrians on this latest foray to try and double their tally. Schelk takes a high snap, and she's under pressure straight away after the blitz, and she's buried back at the 29-yard line. Lidner amongst others, and Schelk slow to get up.
And Yasmin El Masadi coming in there against his quarterback. We've seen pressure from the Swedes all day today. They've really created massive gaps in this defensive line. They've been moving in this offensive line. They've been moving defensive linemen around, running stunts, running linebacker blitzes, and all sorts of gaps.
So 2nd and 23 upcoming, and Schelk does come to the sideline after she was flattened, falling awkwardly on that shoulder.
Timeout.
Full back in.
My time.
Things just gone a little bit flat in the stadium, understandably, with the scoreline as it is, and the Austrians moving the wrong way on this current drive.
See whether Pripful can come back on and inject some pace.
Oh, she's got feeling pressure, and that ball could be classed as a fumble, dropped on by the Austrians, but her left tackle that time didn't give her the protection she needed, Pripful, and she got blindsided. I think they are classing it as a fumble rather than an incomplete pass.
Caroline Dahin on the hit there, blindsided the quarterback. Out comes the football.
So 3rd and 25 now.
Good defensive line play from the Swedes all throughout this championships.
And maybe the Swedes are looking to get a defensive score and apply the pressure late on, because there was a lot of pressure coming that time rather than just the 4 defensive linemen that they have been bringing, but now they do only rush 4. Pripful puts it up, and that's a lovely throw and catch once again. Great pitch and catch from Pripful to her favourite target, Lloyd. And although that's not going to pick up anywhere near first down yardage, it does pick up 8 or 9, so it'll be 4th and 18. And the punt team comes on once again for Austria. Number 3, Hradsky back to kick.
Ellen Pearson back for Sweden.
Nice snap this time, giving her a chance, and that's a better kick. There's a much better punt, and it goes past Pearson, and Pearson threatens to pick it up and then decides not to, and that's a pretty good change of field position for the Austrians that time. So will Sweden press for this 50 burger? You think they probably will?
Yeah, certainly.
2:53 left, 2:53. Sorry, I'm talking all over you, you're talking all over me. Apologies, Carl. Go, what were you saying?
I was just answering your question, Matt.
What was that? What was my question, Carl?
Whether the Swedes would press for the 50.
I remember that. I was there when I asked it.
No doubt that they will. Just wanted to confirm that, Matt.
Thank you very much. So 2:53 left in the fourth period. I think you're right. I think the Swedes will look to see whether they can get over that 50 mark. But they have got
it. Looks like they brought back quarterback in.
They have brought backup quarterback in. Can't quite catch that number at the minute.
7, Mallory Fraisch back there.
I think you may well be right. And it is 7, and Fraisch flicks the ball out, and another pass goes begging. And there's a flag on the play late.
Lynn Stridsman there out on the flat. Fraisch trying to get the ball to her.
Another nice pass. Laid it out in front of the receiver, giving an opportunity to catch and run. But I say we'll wait and see what this particular infringement is.
Ineligible downfield.
There you go.
Offence number 70, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So ineligible player downfield against the Swedes. So 5-yard penalty will bring up 1st and 15.
Back to this spread offence for the Swedes. No wildcat for this one.
Fraisch
back.
Indeed. 2 receivers either side with the back on the left. Fraisch drops back acres of time again and goes down this middle, or looking to the seam actually, where that ball is overthrown, the intended receiver being Wikström.
Decent defending there by Marie Egger towards the end of this game.
Coming up
Still playing hard.
Coming up to the 2-minute warning, 2:26 remaining. The Swedes still looking to push things. 2nd and 15. Definitely not going to be satisfied if things end up this way. You get the feel the way that they're lining up and the way they're being very cautious about what they're calling and the time they're taking as she adjusts the ball in her grasp and again in and out of the hands of Wikström.
Yeah, the Swedes have just lost their ability to catch a football in these last few minutes of the fourth quarter. Not bad throws going in.
2:22 remaining, so the clock stops obviously on incompletions, which means the game elongates a little bit. 20 past 5, 1 hour 40 minutes till kickoff of Great Britain and Finland here at the John Charles Centre for Sport in Leeds in the United Kingdom. Here we go with Fraisch again. 3 receivers to her right. Toll flips out and Toll's in acre of space and drops another. 3 drop passes in a row, and Fraisch must be just be going back to that sideline going, come on girls, give me a hand here.
Yeah, Moa Toll just dropping that one for Sweden, and 3 consecutive drops. Fraisch will be frustrated with that because she actually played pretty decent.
Well, I was going to say, not that it's about individual stats, but the way that will come up, that will read 3 incompletions on Fraisch's stats, and none of them have been her fault.
Absolutely.
So, Karen Ullen back to punt, or is she? We never really know with the Swedes, and she does. And it's a very low line drive, which Reutz lets bounce, and it bounces past the 40 to the 35-yard line, where the Austrians, with around 2 minutes remaining, will take to the field once again.
Last chance, Austria. Come on, let's get some points on the board for this offense. Not sure why the returner didn't decide to have a go at that one. Took a decent enough bounce to try and get hold of it. Player in space. A couple of times when the balls have bounced, and I suppose they don't want to take any chances given what's happened on previous plays.
So there's one.
The vuvuzelas of Austria now swap over to the drums of Sweden as the things change hands. It's been great, the support today.
One play before the 2-minute warning, and I'm not sure, but I think that is that Voigt in the backfield, is that 80 in the backfield there? And if it is, no, it's number 30, my apologies.
Time out.
That was Julie Hazel.
My time, that is a 2-minute warning at 1 minute and 58 seconds.
Apologies for talking over the referee. 2-minute warning there. I say, as a running back, you're taught never to take the ball standing still, because the minute you take that football standing still, you are just inviting pressure. You should always try and take that football at full speed, which is easy to do if there's a gap in front of you. Not so easy to do if those linemen and linebackers have closed all those gaps.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So 2nd and 11 upcoming. Prickful back in at quarterback. Unfortunately, Shelk been pulled, so I think that shoulder injury not allowing her to continue. And Prickful rolls after a nice play action and ball intended for Gull, but just drops short as Prickful tries to throw on the run.
Great pressure again from the Swedes up the middle. Austria had the right idea rolling out, just couldn't execute that one. Still trying to make things happen. Still fighting to the end, this Austrian team.
3rd and 11. Tell you what, Carl, looks beautiful out on the field, but I'm a bit chilly sat up here now.
Yeah, I've just put my jacket back on, Matt. Certainly there is a wind. Not enough to affect the play.
No.
But we can have a moment.
We absolutely can. We need to get out into the sunshine in between these two games. 1:51 left. 3rd and 11 Austria. Prickful still at quarterback. 2 receivers to her right. Pressure up the middle again. Flings the ball out to the sideline. It's caught, but that's out of bounds.
Oh, it's a shame. That's very close.
Leubner didn't get any feet inbounds, but a nice pass. Aspenberg applying the pressure up the middle again, 95.
They're going to punt. They're going to play the percentages.
So 4th down.
Go for it on 4th down. Why take the risk? Why put up more scores when unnecessarily?
Absolutely.
So play the percentages. Get the ball out of your own half.
Hopefully it'll be a good punt. It's a high snap, which is well fielded, and then the ball skews off the right-hand side of the foot of Gull. And Sweden will take over maybe the final possession of the game inside Austrian territory at the Austrian 47.
Now Sweden, what do you think? 3 bombs to the end zone.
Well, they've still got plenty of time. There's 1:35 I've been told. 1:35 left. There's plenty of time. Don't need to air it out just yet. Still got 2 timeouts of the Swedes.
Will the Swedes get to that 50 burger? I'm sure they'd like to. I mean, when they look back on the championships, looking down the score lines, it does have some kudos, doesn't it? With the Finns managing to put up 50 against this Austrian defence. Can the Swedes do the same?
Freysch back in at quarterback. Johansson not there. Fate one way, and now Toll has the ball, and she's going to get 1st down, and she's turned the corner inside the 20. Inside down to the 16-yard line. Nice run, no flags. 1st down, Sweden. And that 50 burger is looking ever more likely.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Running the ball, you could argue not trying to put additional points on, just keep that clock running. They have to play the game.
1:23 remaining, clock is running. Sweden taking their time now, wanting this to be their final possession, and put the cherry on the cake with another score.
It looks like they're going to take...
Well, it looks like they might be, in fact. Yeah, it does. I think you're right, Carl. It looks like they're all done with the scoring, and out of respect for the Austrians, they're going to start taking knees.
I have enjoyed watching the Swedes play, Matt. What's your impressions of them been in the championships?
Well, I think they've grown, as you mentioned, they've grown all the way through. The clock continues to run in this. They've grown all the way through from the initial victory against the Brits 9-6, and then that close encounter with the Finns where they were just on the wrong side of the 27-20 decision. But I think what they've shown is they've got a number of ways to score. They're not reliant on 1 or 2 individuals. They've got Ulland, they've got Lindner, they've got Zhao, Hedstrom, Johansson very effective, the defence very strong. I think they've, from my perspective, got a very good foundation for building and moving forward. And as we're talking to certain people around the stadium today, they have been a bit of a surprise package this week, and I think that's just good for the Swedish Association of Football.
Yeah, they weren't favoured coming in, but as the clock runs, it's good to reflect on just the entertainment that they gave, especially in that second game against Finland, as the whistle goes. It's been fantastic to have the Swedes, and
that is the end of the game.
And now the pressure really off the Swedes, because they've done everything they can. The tension turns to Finland and Great Britain, and the Swedes will be hoping that Britain can do them a favour and win, but not by 6 points or more.
That's right, and then it gives us that two-way tie, and then we get into some complexities around exactly what happens as if GB win by 6 points, Finland will have a 35-point buffer, as will GB, if they, as will Sweden, and that will give us a situation where we have 3 teams, all that have 2 wins, and that is what we want, because we want GB. Obviously, if you're a GB supporter, you want GB to win later on. And then we get into the complexities of what happens in terms of the tiebreaker and how the difference cap is retained. But this time, scores including Austria would be counted, which is why
absolutely
Sweden have been running up the score. Remember, the score GB against Austria was 36-6.
Yep.
Sweden versus Austria 48-6. Finland versus Austria 50-0. So we'll see how that plays out later on, but there's a long way to go before that happens. We obviously have to have a GB win before we get to 3 teams with 2 ties each.
Now, I like this side of things at the end of each game. Yep. I like this side of things at the end of the game.
Yeah, the Swedes have selected Johansson, which is nice to give Ullin a break, to be honest, because she did. Ullin picked up 2 touchdowns, including the first kick return. But Johansson's been excellent the whole tournament. Enjoyed watching her play. Good ball management skills, runs the ball well.
And I think that's a good shout as well, to be fair. Prickful has been the major bright spot all week. We mentioned coming into this game, she was the leading passer, completed more passes than any of the other 3 quarterbacks, and that's a nice finish there, nice photo to look back on for this one. So
yeah, both quarterbacks there look happy, don't they? And both of them done a good job today. Well done.
And it's been a lovely way to finish it. I do like the way they announce those MVPs, then both teams come together. But anyway, with the culmination of this game 5 in the books and Sweden running out 48-6 winners, we are going to leave you temporarily as we get ready for the final game of the evening between Finland and Great Britain. Remember, join us back here with Onside Productions at 6:30 for our pre-game show, and we'll give you all the build-up and the hype for the final game of this tournament, GB versus Finland. But for now, with Sweden 48-6 winners against Austria, we will see you later on. Goodbye for now.